All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. Whether you're listening today live, it's November 30th, or you're tuning in after the fact, thank you for coming. We're super excited about this talk today. It's going to be all around artificial intelligence. We're going to kind of go into our unique solution, how it differs from some publicly available AI solutions, and then hopefully minimize some of the fears that come with AI. So with that being said, my name is Danielle. I do client communications here at 2W. And with me today is Alex. He's our IT solutions engineer. Before he goes in and gives a introduction into himself and the company, really quickly, if anyone comes up with any questions during this discussion, feel free to throw them in the comments box and we'll try to get to them when we can. Otherwise, we'll do a little Q&A at the end. So Alex, if you want to go into a little intro on yourself and the company.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Danielle. Hi, everyone. I'm Alex. I'm one of the solutions engineers over here at 2W Tech. So my job is to come up with different technology solutions for our clients and to see what's going on out there in the world and all these cool new features and how our clients can make use of them. And here at 2W Tech, we support the Epicor ERP, along with we are a full managed service provider working with, we're a Microsoft partner. So we specialize in the Microsoft stack with Azure, Azure cloud computing, obviously, their cognitive functions and everything that goes along there. So we have a full stack to support businesses and manufacturers, whatever have it.
Awesome, thank you. So I figured we'd just start by getting a good foundation and talking about AI in a general sense. I'm sure we have a variety of people listening today in terms of comfortability with AI. So do you just want to go ahead and explain what AI is?
Yeah, so AI, we get this misconception out of the way. It's not Skynet. It's not from the Terminator. It's not gonna take over the world and steal all of our jobs. It is a productivity tool at the end of the day. It's just like how your CRM, or it helps you be more efficient at sales. It's like how Teams and all of its functionality, interconnectivity has made you more efficient. Just like Excel and Excel macros. That's all AI is. It's a productivity tool. It helps you to get your first draft of, let's say, an email, or help compile information into an easy to use place, or it's like a search engine to give you quick hits of information that you would have to dig through pages of manuals to find. It's not this big scary overlord. Now I did still use please when I talk to it, but that's that.
Yes, that's one of our rules here. You always have to speak nice to the bot. So he mentioned that AI is not going to take jobs. It's a tool, not a cheat code to get a final product faster, right? So that's one of the big fears that come with AI is people think that it's going to replace jobs, and in fact, it is not. And actually, on the opposing end of it, there are some people who believe AI can provide jobs. Do you have any opinion
Yeah,
on that?
yeah, I think it'll free up people to get them out of the mundane tasks. And you're able to get information and respond to clients quicker, creating more opportunities to do all the other stuff that you want to do but just don't have time in the day to do. And just creating more opportunities. So for example, you have a bot that helps you to write statements of work. Well, instead of spending 20, 30, 40 minutes typing up this big statement of work for a quote, now I have a bot that can help me get that first draft. I go in, change up some words, make it sound a little better, and bam, it's out the door in 10 minutes opposed to, 30, 40 minutes. So I'm able to
Yeah,
do more.
oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
For sure. And so you mentioned our scope of Workbot. Can you go into more ways that we use it here at 2W?
Yeah, so I'll first talk about what people are seeing out there and what's out in the wild right now, I think. And what people are familiar with is they're familiar with ChatGPT. I would imagine that's the most popular one. It's free to use, and that bot is, for lack of a better words, it's not talking to you in a natural language model. It's giving you data and exporting it. Just, hey, here this is. and here's what I think you want. Versus what our bots do is they speak to you in a more and they're no 2W, and they know who we are and what we do and what our tone is. So our statements of work, so we have a bot that does statement of work that talks in our tone, in the tone of 2W Tech. If you guys have seen the stuff that we put out there on LinkedIn or any of our other marketing things, we have a certain company tone that we want to communicate in. So our bot does that. We also have a bot that we can take recordings of meetings, internal or external, run them through this bot, and then it'll give me a summary. It's in my notes from the meeting. Now, instead of going, oh, I didn't write down this piece of information, I can go to my bot and say, hey, what did the client say about X? What is their time frame looking like? Or if you're someone like me and has awful handwriting, decoding that handwriting after 3 days after the meeting is tough. Having a bot to bring up the transcript is awesome. We also have also in that same bot, you can have it write you a follow-up email. Hey, based on this meeting, write me a follow-up email with next steps and action items. Boom. Now my meeting summary, I'm not looking at that little cursor. I'm have a starting point, a first draft. We also have a bot. It's just our general bot. It has all the information about 2W Tech. It has information on the products we sell, and it has information on just how we do business and how we talk. So if I have a question, I can go in and ask the bot before I go out and seek another resource, and I have my answer instantly instead of waiting for someone to come back to me.
Yeah. And one of the cool things that I experienced during my onboarding process here is you're able to utilize the bot to explain things in a different sense. So when I first started, Alex was working with me actually, and he asked, what are some of your hobbies outside of work? And I told him basketball. And I can't remember what solution it was that we had it explain, but it spit out, let's say Epicor, it spit out some information about Epicor ERP in terms of basketball. And it just clicked with me right then and there. It just allowed me to understand this topic in a language that made sense for me. So that's a huge thing. And do you want to elaborate any more on that? Because I know you've had a lot of
Yeah.
experience with playing around with it and asking it to explain things in different ways.
One of the greatest things that we use our bot for is we ask it to explain stuff like we're five, or hey, simplify this explanation. So we deal in the nature of our business is we deal with some complicated issues, some complicated solutions, some complicated topics, networks, servers, virtual machines, and that not everybody understands that. And we can go in and say, hey, explain how a network works in basketball terms, or explain how a network works in car terms, or how a server works in car terms, because in a different sense that people understand. Or I can put it in and go, hey, explain this like I'm five, and it will put it in nice simple terms that I can understand, and then as soon as I can comprehend it, explain it over to others. So it helps to get all these topics and terms that people understand, so it helps learning and that comprehension. So it's not the okay, I'm not understanding this, or you're not understanding this, why? It helps to eliminate that. It was a game changer.
Yes, for sure. And so we briefly talked about how AI won't take jobs. That's one of the big fears people have. Now, the second big fear that people have is all around security. And you mentioned Chat GPT and how our solution differs from that. Can you talk about security in terms of how it differs?
Yes. Oh, security is really different between the two. So ChatGPT, what happens when you enter information into there? It joins the Borg of information that is ChatGPT. So you plug in, if you accidentally, hey, organize this client list for me. Well, now everybody in the world has access to that client list. Versus our solution is internal to you, locked down in your network, and only people who have access to your network can get to your bot and your information. So it's locked down internal, and it only knows what you know, versus it only knows what you tell it to know. Hey, like we work with the Epicor ERP, we work with Microsoft, so we feed it every single technical document that we can get our hands on, and every fact sheet, everything that is a source of truth. We have it pointing to Microsoft's website. We have it pointing to Epicor's website. ChatGPT, on the other hand, is all of the internet. So you might ask it a question and it could draw on information from somebody's 8th grade project on computers. Not saying that it's always going to do that, but it can. There's that possibility out there with ChatGPT, and you all hear, and if you look, you see funny stories of ChatGPT just making stuff up because it's pulling from the entire internet versus our solution, which only pulls from the things that you know are sources of truth, things that you feed it saying, hey, this is what I want you to know about. This is true. This is your information.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that because I recently saw something where someone was playing around with ChatGPT and asked it to describe a picture that they inputted, and the picture was, I don't know, I think it was a whiteboard with a saying, and ChatGPT described it as a beach or something. And yeah, that's just an example of how sometimes that solution can be wrong. um, so talked about security. Now, do we have anything planned in terms of future enhancements that we'll be adding to our solution?
Yeah, so right now we have bots for transcribing meetings and giving you your notes out of meetings, writing the emails out of it. We have a general bot that encompasses all 2W knowledge, what it is. We have an SOW bot, but we're also working on, and this is something for our clients, is working on a bot that, for all intents and purposes, is a Google search for your ERP. So I can go in there and type in, hey, there's fires in California. What orders are going to be affected by that? Or who should sales reach out to this week? And it'll spit out, hey, you haven't talked to these guys in 90 days and they put in a lot of orders. Sales should reach out to them and check in. Or I am short on this part number. What orders are going to be delayed because of it? And it's just quick information out of your ERP. So that's our next project that we're working on, and it's really cool for anybody that was at Epicor Insights. They were able to see a quick demo of that product, and it was pretty sweet.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but can you talk on how our AI solution learns and adapts as it goes?
Yeah, so our AI solutions, so it's not loose in our SharePoint right now. Our AI solution only knows what we tell it to know. So we give it information. We've given it like sheets. Hey, this is 2W and this is what we're about. This is how we talk. We give it good examples of statements of work. We give it PDFs of technical documents and write-ups. We point it to different websites that we know are truths. Learn.microsoft.com. That's a source of truth for Microsoft information. So we point it right now. It's what we give it is how it learns. So we're teaching it with different documents. Like one of our recent enhancements was we gave it like a document for who 2W is as a culture. And now the bot knows I can go in there and say, hey, write me up something that says why it's awesome to work at 2W. Or what are the benefits of working at 2W? And it can type that up because we've taught the bot what it is to work at 2W and what our culture is like here. So right now it's just what you give it, but we can let it loose in your SharePoint, but you got to make sure your data is organized, categorized, and there's some other caveats to it.
Is there a lot of updating that goes along with it? Like how much on the back end do you have to put more content into it? If
So
that
if you
makes
put,
sense.
yeah, no, that's actually a great question. So you can give it hard documents, but you can also point it to different websites. And so, for example, when Microsoft changed Azure AD to Entra ID, our bot was able to pick up on that because it's pointed to Microsoft's website. So it changed when Microsoft changed, it changed. Now, if the information that it's receiving is all from static documents, you have to feed it and update those static documents. The other day, we just updated how the statement of workbot works. We gave it a new updated version. We fed it to the bot, said, hey, this is kind of the format we're looking to put this product in. If you're looking for a statement of work, this is how we want it to be. And we just fed it into the bot and taught it and said, hey, this is a good example. Use this from now on. So it depends on how much your stuff changes, I guess is the short answer to that.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So if let's say we have someone that's interested in this solution, what does that process look like for getting all of the client's data to us and getting it into the place that the bot takes it from?
Yes, this solution would live in your environment. So it would be it'd be your solution, so it's safe and secure in your environment. And the way we do it is you'd reach out to us, because there's no one size fits all solution, and it depends. There's a lot of variables. Is your data that you want already up in a SharePoint OneDrive? Is it readily accessible? What kind of data? What are you looking for it to do? Is it simple functions like, hey, just transcribe this meeting and give me emails back in my tone and notes back? Or are you looking for it to give you information on, let's say, 20 years of customer service documentation, and you want a system where your customer service reps can quickly search 20 years of information and not look through, 10 different PDFs. It depends on the solution. And so I recommend, if you're interested and this piques your interest, if you have a CSM, reach out to your CSM. If not, you can reach out to us on LinkedIn, through our website. Just reach out to us and we can have a conversation and really dial it in, see what you're looking to do, and we'll discuss it from there.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, well, we'll open it up for questions now. If people want to drop any questions you have in the comments box, and I will start refreshing and seeing what comes our way. While we wait, if there's any more stories that you want to share, Alex, in terms of ways that we've used it. I guess I have one really quickly. So being in the creative role I'm in, I use the bot to get all my thoughts together. So I'll have a brainstorming session with myself and I'll throw in all the thoughts into the bot and ask it to create a piece of copy. And I'll sit there and I'll say, try again, try again, try again. And at the end of that, I get 5 versions of the same thing that I'm able to look at and kind of pick apart the things I like, disregard the things I don't like. And like Alex said, it skips to that part of a good first draft, and I'm not having to sit there and watch the cursor blink, right? So that's how I use it, particularly in my role. But we've had so much fun with the solution altogether. I know that Alex has played around with it and asked it to spit something out in sassy terms, which was fun.
Or in the tone of a pirate, which was also really fun.
Yes.
Hey, give me the summary in a tone of a pirate, and anything that starts with "our mateys" is a good time.
Yes.
That's
why I love this solution, because it's practical, but it's also a lot of fun just to play around.
Well, and one of the best things that I've used the bot for is when I get thrown on an email chain. Like I get added to email 20 of this chain, and I got to go, what in the world is going on? I put the bot in there, and it'll not only summarize it, but write me a first draft response, so I can see the notes and then go, hey, write me a quick response back on some of these topics. Give me a response back. I'll look at it, change a few things around, fire it away. Or if I need to do some research, I'll say, hey, quick, write me a response saying I'm looking into this. Boom. I got a response. Away we go. I know what's going on. I have the information. I'm not on a scavenger hunt through, and or better words, an archaeological dig of email chains.
Right. Okay, so as I see questions coming in, I'll start by reading some of the questions I had from clients already. So the first one being, is this solution mobile friendly?
Yes, it is. And it's so you'd have to get it on your tablet, to get it on your phone. You just have to authenticate into your network. As soon as you do that, it's mobile friendly. It's just a all it is a web browser. It runs off a web browser. So it's mobile friendly, workstation friendly. If you can hit a web browser and authenticate into your network, you can use the solution.
Awesome. Second question, is there a learning curve when first implemented, not just on the user side, but also the bots?
Ooh, that is a great question. So yeah, both answers is yes. So we'll start with the bot. So as you're going through, you're gonna feed the bot, and you're gonna teach it how to give answers and give responses in the tones that you want. And it's gonna take some playing and some trial and error. Like, ooh, I like how you did this, but I don't like how you're organizing the data for a statement of work, for example. So it takes some training and dialing in. But once it's dialed in, like how we have it, it's sweet. It's really sweet. And then from the user aspect, it's like everything new. It can be a little intimidating, and it's different, and it's change. And so you want to you want to train people on how to use it and how to prompt it and get the most out of it. Because truly, and this is something that I think Danielle can speak to as well, is you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what it can all do. So if you don't know, you can ask it to give you a statement of work. You won't know, or you don't know something silly. We found out it can read Spanish or and write back in Spanish. You don't know. You don't know that you can dump in. I can go to, if I'm prepping up for a meeting, a company's about page and spit in there and say, hey, tell me about this company and what they do. So you want to train people and then prompt it too, because everybody has different slang and different way that they speak and call things. So I can call a summary email, a cover letter. Some people are like, oh, my email summary, or they'll use just different words and slang. So different prompts can help you get closer to the information you want. So as soon as you get a power user, we can help train up a power user, and having somebody to get that training and what is possible opens up the world. And I think, Danielle, if you want to speak to the training aspect, because me and you did the training together, and from when you started to after training, and if you want to speak to that a little bit.
Yeah. So when I joined 2W, I was new to the tech industry as a whole. So I'm going to kind of jump back to that example I gave where we were playing around with the bot and we had it explain some terms in basketball terms, because that's what I was familiar with. It really expedited my learning here at 2W and in the tech industry in general. So that was awesome. And I've just used it a lot to get more information on what we do, ways that I can explain it to other people. Part of my job is communicating our solutions to our clients. And I feel like if we didn't have this solution and I was in my same role, I would be at a whole different level in terms of the knowledge I have now, because I'm able to utilize it in a way that expedites my learning, because I can ask it to explain things in a way that I already know. So explaining it in basketball again, like I was able to completely understand, probably not completely. I was able to get a really good grasp on Epicor ERP with it explaining it in the terms that I'm familiar with. So that it was just an awesome experience. And it was kind of cool because I joined at the same time that this solution was joining 2W, I would say. And this actually transitions perfectly into our next question, which someone asked, did we do any training internally when we onboarded the solution? And do we think that it's necessary to train internally if someone were to
It's
onboard the solution?
Oh, 100%. Just like every good productivity tool, you want to make sure that people have a good knowledge base. Just like you want, there's some assumed knowledge that people know how to work around Word and Excel because it's been around so long. But just as you would train a new employee on your ERP, your CRM, you want to train them up on the bot, because you don't know what you don't know. And it can be intimidating. It's AI, and everything that we've seen in pop culture is Skynet's gonna, take over the world, or, the bad evil robot stuff. So people don't know, hey, I can ask this to explain like I'm five, or explain in basketball terms, or I can copy, I can have it write me an email. So it's teaching people the art of possible. And as soon as you let them go and say, hey, there's no wrong answers, there's nothing wrong that you can ask this, then that's when they start really getting creative. And something after, it's fun when I do these AI trainings here in 2W. I'll meet with someone, they'll go, and then they'll come to me like a week or two later and say, hey, did you know that the bot can do this? I plugged this into the bot and it gave me this answer. It was really helpful. And it'll be something I never even thought of myself. So just the knowledge transfer of, hey, this is a way that I'm using this. It's just getting people talking about it, and it gets fun when everyone's talking about it and sharing their use cases, and you just steal from each other's ideas and uses.
Right. And one of the best ways to learn is just to do that, just to play with it and experiment, ask it things and see what it comes up with. I know one of the things that you talked about during our training session, Alex, was you can copy and paste a whole web page essentially and paste it into the bot and ask it to summarize. And that's something that people wouldn't think that maybe wouldn't think that it could do, just because it's so much content and you're not just grabbing the actual content that you want from the web page. You're grabbing literally the whole web page, from the logo up top to the sidebars, everything, and pasting it in, and the bot knows, what's essential to summarize and what's maybe not as important, right? So that was something cool that I feel like we figured out. Okay, another question I got was, is there a process to submitting a document into the bots database? Is it something where you can opt out a document, or is it just automatically added into the database?
Oh, so that would be, it depends. If you're doing the solution like we have, where it's not loose in the SharePoint, it's defined documents, then yeah, there's a process behind that. And we submit it to, like I'll use the recent update we made with our SOW bot. I submitted the verbiage on how I wanted it to look, that hey, this is how it should sound. I sent it to the team, and the dev team went and added it on in there. If it's loose in your SharePoint, that that's a great question, and yes, you can. You can choose what it sees and what it shows. But that goes into, you got to categorize your data and your files, and you got to make sure everything is categorized and organized in the proper way. So if you're going to let this bot loose in your SharePoint, you got to make sure that everything is categorized and organized, so somebody doesn't accidentally save my grocery list into the client's file or something.
Yeah, for sure. So another question we got is, how does the pricing structure work on a solution like this? What goes into it when we're putting together a quote?
Yeah, so it really depends on what you're looking to do. Do you want to have this loose in your whole organization? Is it one specific use case? Is it, hey, I want you just to summarize emails for me and record and transcripts? So, and it depends on where your data lives. Is it all on a file server on premise, or is it up in SharePoint? Do you have everything up in Azure? Just where does it live? How you're using it, and what do you want to do with it? Is it big and broad, or is it nice and narrow and focused? So those are all the factors that go into it. Excuse me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. Okay, well, I don't see any more questions coming in. Do you have anything you want to add before we leave?
Yeah, I just want to just kind of summarize the whole tone of this conversation, and what the big takeaways here is: AI is not here to take your jobs, and it's not here to take over the world. It's a productivity tool, like everything else. Just like Excel is a productivity tool and Excel macros is an enhancement of that, AI is just another productivity tool. It's not the end all be all. It's not going to give you first drafts of anything, but and not final drafts, I should say, not first drafts. It'll give you the first drafts of things, and then it still needs the human element. But it'll make the worker, your every employee from the top down, more efficient. It's a productivity tool, and that's just what I want everyone to take away from today.
Perfect. Well, if anyone has any further questions, you think of them after or in a couple days, feel free, like Alex said in the beginning, reach out to Alex or I directly on LinkedIn, reach out on our company page. Otherwise, you can visit 2wtech.com and go to our contact us page, and we'll be happy to help. We can get demos together, give you more information, whatever you need. So really quickly, just want to say thank you again for everyone who joined. And we're hoping to do more of these in the future. So stay tuned and we'll keep you updated on our next discussions.